Welcome to the Campfire. We have spent the entire summer breaking down the Houston area districts. Today, we are talking about the teams and players who could make some noise in the postseason. Let's start off by analyzing some potential title contenders in our film session. Starting in 6A, you have to look at the North Shore Mustangs. They enter the season not only ranked #1 in Houston, but they are also nationally ranked. Despite a coaching change, North Shore should keep rolling, especially with the return of Caleb Bailey behind center. Bailey missed a good portion of the 2022 season after winning the state championship MVP in 2021. He's good to go this year, and the Mustangs have the talent to make a deep run again. However, you only need to look within their district to see a fearsome foe. Atascocita returned Zion Brown and Tony Blaylock to their offense, and the Eagles gave North Shore all they could handle during the regular season. Katy will also be a problem in the postseason as they bring back one of the state's best offensive lines. A slew of other contenders will emerge throughout the season, but teams to look out for come November are Ridgepoint, Cy-Fair, Spring Westfield, and the Woodlands. In 5A, there are some dangerous Houston area teams as well. Fulshear has become a problem for 5A Division I teams. The relatively new team has excelled under a all-gas, no-brakes philosophy on offense, and they can light up a scoreboard in a hurry. Fort Bend Marshall is a favorite in Division II as they always have athletes including cornerback Joshua Lair and wide receiver Jacaden Ferguson. Look out for Lake Creek as well. Much like Fulshear, the Lions put points on the board fast, and they have one of the state's most electrifying running backs in Tyvon Byers. In the lower classifications, look for El Campo and Belleville to cause havoc in 4A. Players on the Rise is brought to you by Parker University. Do you or your student want a career training the world's best athletes? Check out our bachelor's degree in strength and human performance today. Now let's look at some players who will need to show out in the postseason. Here's producer Ward Fasold and the Houston Chronicle's John Poorman with the district breakdown.
All right, it's district breakdown time. It's our playoff edition. We are talking with John Poorman from the Houston Chronicle. John, we went through all the districts in Houston, and now we're left with one thing to talk about. It's playoff teams and what kind of players you think need to step up in order for these teams to make deep playoff runs. And let's start in the largest classification with 6A. Give me a couple, 2, 3, 6A players that you think need to really ball out come postseason.
Well, I'll just say this to start off. It's hard not to begin with the quarterback position. We all know how important that is, especially when the playoffs roll around. So I'll start with the guy who has plenty of that experience in Caleb Bailey at North Shore. He's going to be a junior this year. He missed most of last season with the torn ACL, so it's going to be really interesting and important for North Shore to see how he comes back. Obviously, they'll probably want to ease him in the non-district part of their schedule and, getting his feet wet and getting him back in that kind of live environment. And then, one guy that, everybody is really excited about coming in this year is DJ Lagway, the quarterback up at Willis. He's a senior. They missed the playoffs last year. He had missed a couple games due to injury down the stretch, and they just missed the cut there, but coming back this year, I know there's a lot of optimism coming out of Willis, and with Coach Trent Miller entering his second year, they have some offensive weapons around him now. I'm wondering if this is the year that could they not only get into the playoffs, but win a couple games and make some noise.
John, I appreciate you joining us this summer, man. We're through the summer. We talked about every district. We talked about playoff participants who need to step up. Now all we got to do is play the games, and that all starts next week. And you can join me and John each week. We're going to be talking next level. We'll be talking about specific players throughout the year on the show, which airs next week at 11 o'clock, channel 11, KHOU. Me, John, we'll see what's going on, man. I appreciate you joining us this summer, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
We'll post the entire breakdown segment this Wednesday on our social media pages. Now let's take a look at some possible playoff game changers in our Players on the Rise presented by Parker University. If Oak Ridge can make the postseason in a tough 13-6A, Justin Williams could prove to be too much to handle for playoff opponents. Williams is the best linebacker in the state as he had 8.5 sacks and 105 tackles as a junior. The explosive defender also tallied 18 tackles for loss. If the War Eagles are playing in the second season, Williams could help lead them a couple rounds deep before heading to Georgia for his college ball. Another defensive star that could lead his team deep in the playoffs is Shadow Creek safety Maurice Williams. Many feels Maurice will play linebacker at the next level because the kid loves to hit. Williams had 43 tackles, 3 fumble recoveries, and 2 picks as a junior. The Sharks were district champs last year but got bounced in the second round of the playoffs. Maurice will be key to a long run for Shadow Creek. He committed to the University of Houston. DJ Lagway of Willis could be the best quarterback in the state. The Wildcats are looking to make the playoffs in 13-6A and will need Lagway's strong arm to reach that goal. DJ put up over 2,000 yards passing and 24 touchdowns in an injury-plagued junior season. The Florida commit is fully healthy and ready to take Willis back to the postseason. One of the best playmakers in Houston is Hightower wide receiver Zion Kearney. When it comes to the postseason, that's what you need, playmakers. Kearney caught 39 balls for 765 yards and 8 touchdowns a season ago. Zion is the kind of big receiver that can win 50-50 balls and beat you deep as well. Hightower went 3 rounds deep last year, and if the Hurricanes want a repeat performance, they will need big plays from the Oklahoma commit. Players on the Rise is brought to you by Parker University. Check out our bachelor's degree in strength and human performance today. Our Ward Fasold caught up to Atascocita head coach Craig Stump to talk about his Eagles and other playoff contenders in our Media Day segment.
All right, it is Media Day. We are joined with Atascocita head coach Craig Stump. And Coach, we ran out of districts here in Houston, so we're going to talk about playoffs. We're going to talk, and it's way too early to talk about playoffs, but we're going to talk about teams that might be dangerous come after 11 weeks of regular season ball. Obviously, you're one of the teams that's going to be dangerous. You could mainly because you come from a dangerous district. I mean, the teams in your district traditionally have gone 3-4 rounds deep. Talk about, let's just start off with your team and kind of the stuff that makes your Eagles kind of tough this year.
Yeah, I think, a lot of times in high school, it's you lose a certain side of the ball more than the other side a lot of times. I mean, like last year, we were more experienced on defense than we were on offense, although we had some talented players on offense just from an experience standpoint. And this year, it's kind of the opposite. We're filling some holes on defense with some really great players, and but basically everybody back on offense. And so, hopefully there's a balance there. But, yeah, quarterback Zion Brown, he's a 14-3 high hurtler, and third year to play, and Torrey Blaylock has been offered by everybody in the nation, and he's the running back. Nate Kibble's a Texas commit, and then on the wide outside, we have a lot of speed out there and experience. So offensively, it should be an exciting bunch.
Finally, let's talk about how you approach your first North Shore game, because you got to look at it in 2 ways. Win or lose, there is a 50-50 chance you'll see him again a second time. Is there a deal where you could kind of pick up some stuff from that game, win or lose, like, okay, we're going to end up getting them again? Because I know you had one close game last year and one that wasn't maybe not as close as you'd like. And just talk about how that dynamic works. That's
my thing. I would rather play you early and then, go from there. Like, I know there's some coaches say, well, I don't want to play you if we're going to play you in the playoffs. We don't want to play you in the preseason, but I'm just the opposite. I'd rather play you, get to play you again, then, you can go off of that, right? And
right.
Change things. Yeah, we had a close game, and they scored late. Basically came back and won, I think it's 2 evenly matched teams, to be honest, and I think it's been that way for a few years. I think that winner of that game easily could have won the state championship, Not easily, but –
made it. Yeah,
was going to be there, right?
I'm looking forward to seeing you guys play, and we'll be out to several Atascocita games for sure.
Well, I appreciate you having us. It should be fun.
You can catch the entire interview Friday on our social media channels. That's going to do it for our off-season coverage. Next week, the season begins, and you can catch all the highlights every Saturday night at 11 p.m. on KHOU 11. Thanks for joining us all summer long, and we'll see you under the Friday night lights.